Hello, I'm Frank Vogl. Rarely before has our American economy been so challenged, have Americans been so concerned about prospects, and investors been so nervous. It's not just the scale of unemployment and housing foreclosures, it's also the dark clouds hovering over much of the world's economy, and crucially, worries that our political system is captured by special interests and unable to operate constructively. For 40 years, I've been involved in global economic policy and developments, as a journalist, as a World Bank official, and as an advisor to leaders of financial institutions. I've been in the trenches of global economics and finance. And then at the same time, I've spent a great deal of time involved in many voluntary initiatives to reduce corruption across the world. There's a connection. From China to Afghanistan, from Egypt to right here at home in the United States, corruption is undermining economies, damaging prospects for growth, and challenging our global security. Recently, France's leading organization of national economists invited me to speak at a major economics conference, but they wanted me to talk about graft and bribery because they saw the crucial link between effective and honest government and securing growth in our economies. Ladies and gentlemen, the crimes of corruption are not abstract issues. Every time an official steals from the public purse, somebody suffers. Every time an official is a villain, then there is a victim. Corruption is not confined to any particular culture. The mixture of money and politics is toxic everywhere. And in most countries, there is a sense that deals are done constantly with government officials in ways that obviously steal from the public. My own country, the United States, is not immune. When the Supreme Court, in the Citizens United case, decision struck down the ban on corporate expenditure to influence federal elections, 5 justices, and I'm very proud to say that I'm on this panel with Justice Breyer, who voted the right way, but 5 justices radically changed our political system. Free speech is for sale in the United States to smear politicians who seek to serve the public, to distort public perceptions. Over the last couple of years, I've been in the midst of the Euro crisis, earning frequent flyer miles on never-ending flights to Brussels and Athens and Paris and London. That crisis started in Greece, where the government falsified the budget accounts and the super-rich evaded taxes. It started in Ireland, where crooks bankrupted the biggest banks in a massive corrupt housing binge. And now the Euro crisis is spreading to slow global growth. This crisis will dominate the world's economy in 2013. It will mean reduced European demand for goods from the United States, China, and Japan. That means lower world trade, and that means lower world growth. It will mean challenges to European banks, leading to market volatility, investor caution, and great nervousness. So is there a silver lining, or is it all gloom? In the mid-1990s, when there were many global concerns, I wrote a book with entrepreneur Jim Sinclair that talked about global growth being led by the emerging markets. We predicted a decade of powerful growth led by East Asia and additional significant growth in Latin America. Many of those who interviewed me on CNBC and CNN and BBC were skeptical.
Which region of the world would you expect to have the greatest growth as we look forward?
Well, clearly it's going to be East Asia. It's going to grow at the sort of rate that we're still seeing right now for many years to come. That's 3-4 times as much as the economies of Western Europe, North America, and Japan. So we're looking at 6 to 10% growth in many of the East Asian countries, followed perhaps by 4 to 6% growth in Latin America.
Because the boom is concentrated in the third world, as you say, are we going to feel, we the sort of normal living working citizens of the Western world, going to feel the impact of that?
Very much so, but we have great opportunities. We in Western countries have to produce more smartly. We have to innovate. We have to use our technological lead to produce lean, efficient, highly technology-based corporations in leading industrial countries.
One of the other areas that's kind of tricky, and maybe you can give us a quick answer on this, is that doing business in a Middle Eastern country versus an African country or an Asian country like China is all very different. What is your number one tip to companies who want to break in? We just have a few seconds.
Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. You've got to understand the markets, you've got to build the teams, you've got to have the contacts, and you've got to really know what you're doing. And we think that if you do that, the profits will be just tremendous.
I was right then, and I'm confident about the midterm outlook now. I talk straight. If the news is going to be bad, then I'll say so. Candidly, the economic outlook is bleak. We face a long journey back to real growth and prosperity. But we can make it. To enable this, we need leadership that breaks free of the Washington gridlock and the special interests. And on this front, let me surprise you and say I'm hopeful. In my new book, Waging War on Corruption, I talk about courageous leaders across the world, from Russia to Peru, who expose government corruption, build civil society, and work to strengthen business integrity. Much has been achieved, far more than I could have dreamt of 20 years ago, when with just a few friends, we founded Transparency International as an international anti-corruption organization. Today, our organization operates in 100 countries and has thousands of active supporters. The Arab Spring saw people overcome fears of security police to go into the streets and demonstrate against corrupt government. That event is a central pillar of my book. It highlights a brave new social media activist world that is rapidly emerging, where ordinary people can speak truth to power. The US political system is swamped with cash, much of it seeking special favors. I believe there's going to be a public backlash. I believe that Americans right across this nation will call ever more loudly and clearly for honesty in government, for accountability, and for integrity. They will demand that politicians do what is right for the nation as a whole, and that will open the door for a brighter economic future. Thank you.